Okay. So I guess we could start with a light introduction. I'm Jean-Claude, and with me I have a colleague of mine in data science, Matteo.
Hi, very happy to be here.
Thanks for joining the live stream. So at the beginning, we'll just give a few words on ourselves. For myself, I studied at EPFL, mathematics, bachelor and master. After that, I worked for a bank as well as a ETH spin-off before joining the firm. And now I'm a senior fellow in data science for 8 months.
Nice, JC. Hi everyone. I'm Matteo. I joined McKinsey 1 year and 1 month ago. Now I'm a data science specialist. My background is in physics. I had a strong academic background, so to say. I did a PhD and even a postdoc. But after that, the appeal was so high that I had to change, and here I am. And of course, looking forward to answer all your questions and discuss with you any cool topic you brought up. So shall we start?
Yeah, so prior to the stream, you could write and ask your questions that you had, and we will then start by the most requested ones and then proceed as we go. Feel always free to ask questions during the stream, and we'll try to answer as many as possible. So the first one is, which field of consulting is the influence of machine learning expected to affect? Which fields are already affected? What do you think, Matteo?
So first of all, very cool question, very interesting point. This actually allows us, to say that machine learning affects many fields. And many fields, many industries. Of course, the take-up depends on the industry. So there are industries which are faster and have already been using these techniques since some time. So let's take telco or banking. In other industries, it was actually good to learn that machine learning is used as well. So you may find that machine learning is used in the metals industry or in the manufacturing to improve processes, optimize certain steps in the value chain and all this. So machine learning is not only focused on what you would consider as the standard IT industries like telco, banking, retail, and so on, but now is moving also to many other industries, and that's super cool.
Yeah, it's also fair to say that McKinsey is the leading firm in management consulting in the world, and that we do serve clients across all industries, and they're facing more and more needs for advanced analytics solutions. So McKinsey is a prime location to start if you want to start in any field you want. Going back to the question, it is more difficult to answer which fields are not influenced by machine learning so far. Since beginning within the firm, we've seen machine learning applied in renewable energy as well as telco, even consumer goods.
Of course.
And also more, material science.
Yes.
Industries. So the range is quite broad, and it seems it's growing over time.
Yeah, we can just summarize in everywhere there is data, we can do machine learning. And now there is data in a lot of places.
And the main challenge is to see where the usage of the data provides the most value of our clients. And that's the beautiful thing for working for the firm, is that not only do we work on interesting problems, but also the solutions have real substantial impact for our clients.
That's a great point.
Okay, good. So let's move to the next question. What are typical projects that analytics consultants do?
So yeah, all the questions are of course very interesting. Yeah, as came up also out of the previous question, the type of projects of course depends and varies, right? It depends on the industry, it depends on the needs of the client at the moment. So you will really have the opportunity to experience a different and broad set of of projects. So we can, I think it's fair to give examples out of our own path, since we've been around already a little bit, and I can tell you that I've really experienced different industries. So I've seen retail, I've seen telco, I've seen metals, and in all these different projects, of course, there was always machine learning involved, but the way it's evolved, it always depends on the project, right? So there can be differences that depends on the industry. And then, of course, then we can go in the details of how our project looks, but the typical project has a certain length, and then a certain deliverables or impact for the client, and how to reach there. Then, of course, the type of solution that we provide is always project dependent. Yeah. Do you want to add anything?
I think it's important to underline is that we do not do machine learning for the sake of machine learning, but more depending on the needs of our client. That is, if they have a goal that they want to achieve, we will look into their capabilities and as well as what they have available in terms of data, and then see what we can apply to achieve that goal. For instance, currently we have a client that wants to boost their sales, and for that purpose, we look into their current customers and see how we can attract more similar customers without going too much into detail. Regarding typical projects, what else can we say?
Well, there is no typical. That's probably what makes this question difficult. That projects can really change. So you can really be in a situation where you have to develop something, for like a metals client or a materials client, and there, of course, the project type of machine learning that you do, the type of analysis that you do, the type of impact that you try to reach is different. So the solution that you will provide is different. Where instead, if you work in a more IT type of setup, then of course the project itself will be different. There are structures in each project, like how the project evolves and all this will typically be the same, but the solution that you will provide to the client will change massively, which is one of the beauty of being an analytics consultant, that you can really go from developing a machine learning model to a different type of model, like say a discrete simulation model or anything that that is suitable for a different client. So the type of analytical techniques that you use that define a project in the terms of which techniques you use can really change together with the solution that you provide.
Sounds about right. Let's move on. Did you focus on machine learning during your studies, or did you learn on the job?
I think, would you like to start with this?
Sure. So I studied applied mathematics at EPFL, focusing mainly on statistics and numerical analysis. So I think that there is a certain crossover between machine learning and applied statistics, but I never formally studied machine learning itself, more applications of statistics in finance. And then as I progress in my career, I work with more and more data, and naturally slipped into that role of a data scientist.
Cool. Yeah, for me it was similar. So math and statistics are of course part of the education of every physicist, and on top of that, programming is really a must-have for any type of research that you do in physics. So that's, say, I came with the right background. But in the, last stages of my research career, I worked on quantum machine learning. So I took the opportunity to learn machine learning from that perspective. And then moving to the classical one was, it wasn't easy, but it was not such a big leap, so to say.
Okay, next question. What is the difference between a consultant and an analytics consultant?
Ooh. Now we go to the tough questions. Analytics consultant is better, of course.
Maybe, so there's quite a fair amount of overlap. So let's focus more on the analytics consultant one. Part of our job is actually being a consultant, in a sense that we do travel to our clients, and we do help them on things besides analytics, be it capabilities training, helping to make key decisions within the client's company. But what is different, I would say, is that our work is more focused within the client itself, with which people we're interacting. That is, we are talking more to their IT infrastructure, the client's data scientists, whereas journalists generally focus more their interaction with managers and other people within the clients.
Nice, JC. That's true. But let me add to that I think one of the values of being an analytics consultant is precisely the opportunity to do analytics and consult, right? So you go to a client, and the layers or the interface that you have, the client can really vary to the IT, but sometimes also to the management. But yes, of course, most of the time is with the IT. But the point is that you deliver your analytic solution, and this solution is typically a recommendation, right, or a suggestion, and this has to be discussed and presented to the client, and that's the part where the consulting part really comes into play, and that's that's one of the really parts of this job or adventure, so to say, that I'm really enjoying, that we are really enjoying, because it's not, as JC mentioned in the beginning, so we don't do machine learning because it's intellectually curious. We are intellectually curious, of course, but that's not the reason why we do this. We do it to bring a solution, and this solution, then we discuss it with the client, and that is our job and our also pleasure, right, to discuss it and present it to them.
Great answer. What does your daily schedule look like?
Well, how does it look? It changes a bit every day, but of course you have structures, right? So you do typically an early meeting where you decide what you're going to do for the rest of the day, and then you will have meetings with the clients, with the IT, with the management. It depends, where you typically check up on progress, what has been done. You have regular meetings also within your team, to assess whether there are issues or things that are blocked and so on. And then you have typically a meeting at the end of the day with your team to see what has been done during the day and so on. Let me just add that as a physicist, you, of course, sometimes you always, when people ask you, did you work in a team? Huh? So I used to say, yes, of course, I used to collaborate with this person, meeting him once every week or 2 weeks. But, teamwork is not like that. I mean, is also like that, but the teamwork that we mean here is really teamwork. So you work in a team on a daily basis.
Yeah, maybe to give you a concrete example, for instance, now for the client we're currently serving, we work in biweekly sprints. So every first Monday of the sprint, we do a check-in with the entire team, that is the McKinsey team, as well as the client's data science and IT, where we discuss the topics we want to work on during the next 2 weeks and defining our priorities. After that, everyone goes by their way, either other meetings, or we reserve ourselves slots of hours where we can have like solid time to code. And then that's what we generally do from Monday to Thursday on client side. And then on Fridays, we generally go back to the home base office. That is, when we're traveling, we come back to Zurich, or when we're already in Zurich, there's not much traveling going on. But yeah, generally we do travel from Monday to Thursday on client side. So you should be aware that there's around 80% travel involved, which is on one hand a good thing, but on the other hand can also be a burden depending on where you're staffed. Okay, so next question. Is it possible to work just for one industry, for example, pharma and medical products, or do I have to work across all industries?
I have to say, you don't have to, so you're not obliged to. Nobody obliges you to do anything. So it's really up to you what you think it's best for you. and everybody here in the firm is really pushing for find your best, right? So which, if working just for one industry is what suits best for you, that's what you're going to do. Of course, there is always the encouragement, probably in the beginning, but this, of course, always depends on your entry level and all this, to explore different options. But you're not obliged to. You do what you think is best for you.
Yeah, maybe it's worth to add that at the beginning of the career, especially when you get just out of uni, one of the big advantages to work for McKinsey is to have a big exposure on a wide range of industries. That is difficult to have if you join another firm. That is that you can work for 2-3 months here, and then if you like it, maybe extend your staffing if possible. Otherwise, search for another staffing opportunity in a completely different industry. And you'd be surprised how interesting other industries are, which might not seem very appealing at first glance.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay. How much time do you spend coding?
Ooh. Should we just shoot a percentage? Well, I would just say that on the average, I think it's fair to say between 30, 50% of the time. I think that's 30%. Sometimes you get days when it can really get to 80 or, cover almost the full day, days where instead it's a bit less.
I agree that on average that's about right, but it really depends on which phase of the project you currently are in. At the beginning, when you just start meeting your client, you do have a lot of meetings just determining where the data is currently stored, how you can get your hands onto the data. And so the percentage of how much you code at the beginning versus how much you spend like getting the data basically inverts as time progresses and as you get more into the project. I had weeks where I would only code, whereas other weeks where we're mainly discussing how would be the most efficient way to gather the data. Or
I think that's really a great summary. Yeah, you have the beginning where you gather data, and then of course typically sometimes you have probably an endover or a finalize, a phase where you finalize, where again the coding decreases a little bit, where you together with the client or to the other streams of the client, you hand over the work that you did to the rest of the teams.
Maybe it's worth noting that currently our stack is mainly R and Python, but we always adjust depending on what the client is using. For instance, you had to learn a complete new language for one of your studies, didn't you?
Thank you. More or less, yes. So we worked on a simulation model in Java. I knew Java a little bit before, but I wasn't a Java expert. So I had the opportunity to become more knowledgeable in it on the project, which was really quite awesome. And of course, one of the advantages of being in such a big firm, big to the meaning that I will say now, is that there are many experts. So if there is a problem that we cannot solve in the team, we will pull somebody who knows this. And in that case, it was really like this. And then you can learn from these experts, these new technologies. That was really awesome.
Cool. Next question. Oops, where's the mouse?
That we did. Yeah.
Do you mostly develop new models using theory of machine learning, or do you use already existing framework and algorithms for analytics?
Would you like to take it? Because you know the state of the art, right?
So the way it works currently is that our engagements are between 2-3 months at the beginning. So there's generally not enough time to do proper research. So the most efficient way, and also the McKinsey 80-20 way, is to use what is there. And generally speaking, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So for most of our works, we do use existing packages.
Right. That's super correct.
Let's try to go quicker through the questions. How does an interview for an analytics consultant position look like? Just really briefly, it's not much different than for journalists. That is, you do get a phone interview, personal screening, and then if everything goes well, you're invited on an interview day, which is as follows. You spend in the morning 3 interviews, which are based on your personal experience, your personal stories, and then the second half is about a case study. Now, there might be slight variations in the sense that they do probe a bit more on your analytical knowledge, but generally the dimensions that the interviewers are probing you are the same. Once you pass those, you will then have additional 2 interviews with more senior people, that is AP partners. And once that's done, hopefully you get an offer. Next question. Where are projects located? Are they mainly in Switzerland, or does it happen regularly that you have to be somewhere else in Europe Monday to Thursdays?
Well, projects really vary. So projects are in Switzerland, but also abroad. So at the moment, we are both staffed in Zurich,
Yep.
right? So you see, you have 2 out of 2 in Switzerland, but that's
That's
doesn't.
the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that we are both in Zurich.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the first time. That's true. But my previous project was also in Switzerland, in the French part. So of course it's part of the work as an analytics consultant that you travel. So that can really happen. So I was in Switzerland. I was in London for a couple of months. I was in the US as well for about a month. So yes, you do travel, but we do really the best to accommodate your say personal needs. So for instance, I just had a very small daughter, and because of this, we only look for projects in Zurich or in the Zurich area.
I couldn't answer it better. Next question. Yeah. Why do you believe you can support clients even though you would probably have less insights in the field than your client itself?
That's a good one. Would you like to start?
Sure.
That's difficult.
So when the client asks for our service, they are not just provided with ourselves, but we support our client with the entire network of the firm. That is ourselves, but also including all the experts and the entire network of the firm. So for every field and topic, we do have specialists and experts with years and years of experience in that field. And what we would do at the very beginning is really a download of all the information. So we give the expert the contacts, and they would provide us with their insights and experience so that we can how should I say, pick up the topic as fast as possible. And I think the support is really important. We're not working for them, but we are supporting them. That is, we are helping them out in areas where they might lack knowledge, but at the same time, we also use or leverage their insights to bring the project forward.
Exactly. That's a great answer. You see, it's true, right? As a consultant, you're not an expert, or typically not at the beginning, right? But of course, we do have experts in the firm. But as a consultant in the beginning of your career, you're not an expert in a certain field. You may not be. Huh? But when the client asks for help or support, that doesn't really mean that that the expertise you provide is something that they already have, right? For instance, in the metals or in a different industry, they might, of course, they are experts in that industry, but machine learning for them, it might be something new, right? And that is what you bring, right? So that's your value. Huh? Then, of course, how to integrate that with that particular industry. For this, we have experts, as JC mentioned, that can really, support us, and with their help, we can really bring the state-of-the-art solution to the client. And I would also add that the external perspective is really useful in understanding the big picture, right? Because when you come to solve a problem and you've been trying to solve this problem since maybe longer, right? You might be stuck a bit in the details. And if you have what we say, take a step back. So you look at the overall picture, and then you can thanks to this, sometimes you can really make change happen a bit faster.
Cool. Why did oh shit?
What did you do?
How challenging are the projects you have at work?
Well, they're not easy.
It really depends. So there are challenges in different dimensions. On the one hand, you have the technical aspect, but on the other hand, you also have client management and expectation management challenges. That is interacting with the client, especially. I think what you mentioned before is that you're an external. So one of the challenges is actually to work with the client as a team.
Mm.
So that is a completely non-technical challenge, and also depends case by case. Another challenge I could think of on top of my head would probably be gathering the data. Depending on the client, they might be more or less um, advanced in terms of how they store and manage their data. So yeah, it's really adapting to the environment that you're staffed in.
Yes, I think that really covers the main challenges.
Okay, let's try to go answer as many questions as we can until the live stream is over. Why do you choose to do machine learning in consulting and not somewhere else?
Well, I would say that this, we can answer this based on what we have already been saying since a bit, is that this gives us the opportunity of exploring different technologies, different industries. So at the moment, we really have the opportunity to see new things, right? Many new things. And then because of this, find our own path later within the firm or also somewhere else, ideally here, but the future is always open.
Great. What is the difference / similarity between McKinsey Digital and McKinsey Analytics?
Well, okay. So first of all, digital and analytics are part of one. We typically bring them together. Of course, there are differences between the two, right? Analytics is focused on really more on the machine learning side, predictive modeling, the type of modeling that can deliver analytical insights. Digital is more on providing digital solutions, right? That can be, for instance, for clients where the level of digitalization is not still, to the very end. The digital McKinsey will come in and bring the state of the art in that context.
Okay, next question. How often do you switch projects? General length of the project is around 3 to 4 months, but it really depends case by case. How long do you have to work in the evening? To be honest with you, not that long. It does depend case by case and also in which phase a project is. But generally speaking, I wouldn't say I work late in the evenings.
Yeah, it depends on the project, and of course the team is always there to make sure to help you and make sure that you have a good lifestyle.
Do you have some hints to get into McKinsey?
Well, what would you say? For sure,
I would say that practicing for the case interviews is one thing,
yes.
But not over practice. The main thing that we're generally looking for is that you have a very structured way of expressing your thoughts. You could be very smart, but if you are not able to transmit or transfer your knowledge or information in a succinct way, then it might be difficult for others to understand you.
Yeah, I totally agree. The structure is very important. Study for the case study, but don't really overdo it, such that it's important to come with an open mind.
Is the influence of machine learning going to get bigger the next years in the field of consulting?
Of course.
I think that's a very big topic that we could spend another live stream doing. So let's skip that.
But yes, we go for yes.
How do you best practice case studies?
Well, there are resources available
online.
So there are standard documentations for it.
Yeah. Other than that, you also find at ETH Graduate Consulting Club that I personally used. So there are students that just meet up once a week to practice case studies. They also sometimes do workshops and presentations and mock interviews that you can just shadow. That's a good way. And then there are also online resources that you can probably look up. Okay, two more. Which is the thing you like most about working for McKinsey?
Come on, the people.
Yeah, the people is generally the main answer. It can be extended in different aspects. For instance, for me, personal learning was extremely important. As a data scientist, generally you're staffed with a more senior data scientist. So you also get the necessary mentorship to grow in your role. What are the career chances at McKinsey?
Probably it's meant like the career paths, like you would there are career paths there are standard career paths like a generalist consultant, and then there are all the career paths associated to more technical or different profiles like data scientists. Like we have more or less they are similar. They of course different. They have specific differences depending on the type of technical field, but the typical path is what is what probably you already all know.
Great. Okay, then ETH Career Center. Good. I guess that's an advertisement from ETH Career Center. So go to the case coach to train. And yeah. Oh, there's an interesting last question.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the last question, I guess, before
that's really the last.
Yeah. Is there something you don't like in your job?
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I would have to think about it.
In my case, it would be layovers between traveling.
Layovers is when you...
Yeah, if you have to wait between flights.
Flight and one another. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's not that fun. Yeah.
But yeah. Cool. I guess we went through all your questions.
Thank you too.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was fun.
Thanks for watching, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Ooh, sorry.
That's awkward. See you soon. Bye.
Ciao.